I'm Helen.
And I'm Billy, and we're the two sisters from Miapupa. And we're so happy to be able to show you today how we make our version of the classic Melomakarona.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take a large bowl and we're going to put the vegetable oil.
If you want the exact measurements for all of these ingredients, you can just go to our website and it's all listed there for you.
Sugar.
That's granulated sugar.
Orange juice.
Freshly squeezed.
Orange rind. We're going to put walnuts.
That you crushed, right?
Fresh walnuts that are crushed. Cognac.
Metaxa.
Delicious.
Very good.
Honey.
This is honey, so before we put the honey in the little container, we greased it with a little bit of vegetable oil to let it slide out of the bowl really easily.
So let's see. There we go. We put cinnamon and ground cloves. So these are the ingredients.
So this is what it looks like first.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to stir it together. We're going to use a fork or a whisk.
And while Helen is doing that, I'm going to start preparing the flour. So we have here 8 cups of flour that has been sifted. Right, so in baking it's really important to make sure that the measurements for your flour are good and correct. So you'll see that sometimes like in this recipe, we call for 8 cups of all-purpose flour sifted, which means you measure out 8 cups of flour and then you sift it. If we had wanted you to pre-sift the flour, we would have said 8 cups of sifted all-purpose flour. So that's the nuance, that's the difference. So this was 8 cups of flour that we then sifted, and I'm going to take some of that flour now, 3 cups worth actually, put it in a separate bowl. And to this, we're going to add baking soda and baking powder. I don't remember which is which. They look very much alike. I think this is the baking powder. There you go. And with a whisk, we whisk it all together. Okay, so once the flour has been well mixed with the baking powder and baking soda, we're going to take it and add it to the wet ingredients that Helen had put together. And we can start mixing this actually by hand. That's how we mix it. Yes, you're giving it to me to do by hand.
Would you like me to do it? You can do it.
Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take off my rings. My hands are clean. Always wash your hands. And as I'm mixing, Helen is going to start adding the rest of the flour. That's right. It's messy work.
It's messy, and once it's done, you're going to see it's going to be very greasy, and that's normal.
So while you're baking cookies, you're also moisturizing your hands.
These cookies are great if you're a manistevta, because there's nothing in there.
Yeah, no dairy, no eggs. There is honey in the cookie itself, and then there's also going to be honey in the syrup that we coat them in. So they're also perfect for vegans who do have honey. We do know that some vegans do not consume honey, so these cookies would not be for them. But if you happen to follow a vegan diet and are okay with honey, then these are great cookies for you too.
They're delicious.
And this recipe makes a lot of cookies. I think like 80 to 100 cookies.
That's right.
And what's really nice is that you can make them ahead of time. Don't put them in the honey syrup, and they keep really well in the refrigerator or even in the freezer right after they've
Put
been
them in
baked.
a plastic Tupperware. And if they make them 2-3 weeks before Christmas, no problem. And then when you need them, just put them in the honey and the nuts, and it's perfect. Good to go.
So I'm just going to show you what the dough is starting to look like. Can you see? So it's quite wet. So you can see as I'm kneading the dough, I hope you can see, it's really greasy. And actually as I'm pressing my hand down, I can feel the grease. So this is a very greasy cookie dough. That's for sure. It's not going to be not greasy, but I think I'm going to add about another 1/4 cup flour just to tighten it up a little bit. It would probably be okay if I didn't, but. So here's my 1/4 cup. I'm gonna sift it. There we go. And now I'm going to mix this in. So if you do feel you need to add more flour, really don't do more than a 1/4 cup at a time. If I take a scoop of dough up and play with it in my hands, I can very easily form a ball that retains its shape. And that means my dough is perfect. And now we're going to shape our Melomakarona. And it's easiest to try to keep them the same size to take a tablespoon size measure and scoop out the dough. So every once in a while, as the grease kind of surfaces, you need to re-knead your dough.
When you roll it, see how greasy your hands are?
Yeah.
It's normal.
It's very moisturizing. The other thing that's important when you take the dough into your hand, actually like squeeze it so that it's compacted. And then make, as Helen was showing you, a circle.
And then shape it so it goes, you know, the width of your...
The width of your hand.
Yeah.
If you have nice little lady hands like us.
Yeah.
If you're a big burly guy, big hands.
It's smaller.
Well, you'll just make larger Melomakarona. As long as they're all the same size.
Yeah.
Right? That's really the important thing.
So you can prepare the whole tray and then you can just flatten them a little bit like this.
Till they're about like 1/2 inch thick.
Yeah.
And then you take a fork and you just make like little tracks on the cookie. And this helps, well, I mean, they look prettier. I think maybe it helps the syrup soak into the cookie. Maybe it helps the nuts stick on top. I really don't know what this does, but this is what we do. So the other thing to remember is if your cookies aren't perfectly shaped or entirely beautiful, don't worry about it, because you're going to cover them with nuts and sesame seeds and honey, and it covers up any flaws.
That's the beauty of these cookies, guys.
So yeah, very forgiving.
If you don't have time to make the whole dough mixture, you can always refrigerate it and make it another day. I've kept dough in the fridge for like 3-4 days before I make the cookies.
Yeah, there's nothing in them that'll spoil really.
So you put them in the oven, 375 degrees, middle rack, for about 10 to 15 minutes. Just keep an eye on them. Every oven is different. The top has to be golden brown and the bottom as well.
Yeah.
So see you soon.
Here we are, guys. The cookies have come out of the oven. I don't know if you can see how perfect they are. Well, they're not perfect. They're not all perfect. This one is kind of perfect, actually.
That one is.
Yeah.
There's some perfect ones and some not so perfect.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Like people. Actually,
Right.
there's no perfect people. And we put them on a cooling rack and they are completely cooled now. And we're going to get ready nata melosime.
Well, we're going to heat up. We have, and I'm going to bring the camera closer so you can see what we're doing. We put 1 cup of honey in a little sauce pot. Now, this amount of honey will only, melosime will only coat 25 Melomakarona. We're not going to be able to do all 80 or all 100 of them. So 1 cup of honey, we've already boiled the water. We're going to put 2 tablespoons of water in here. We're going to heat everything up. We're going to spread a little layer of nuts and sesame seeds here, because once we coat them in the honey, we're going to place them on top of this. We like doing that because it actually coats the bottom of the cookies as well. So you get nice walnut crunch all around.
Yeah,
so now
just sprinkle on the top too.
Yes, we're going to sprinkle it on top after. So I'm just going to bring the camera a little bit closer just so you can see what we're doing.
So when we serve these cookies after we've dipped them in the honey and sprinkled them with nuts and walnuts, we usually put them in cupcake liners, right, Helen?
That's right.
To keep them pretty and to keep all the nuts contained.
Yes.
And sometimes I like to eat these like plain. Do you?
Yeah.
I can't.
They are really
So
good.
just to let you know, oh look, you can see the inside. I don't know if that shows up very well, but they're perfectly, kind of a bit crumbly, but moist. I don't know if that's a good description, but
Are they yummy?
they're very yummy.
Love these cookies. Thank you.
So the honey, you can see, has really turned into a liquid consistency. So this is the time that we're going to add the water that we've boiled. So this is hot water. We're going to add 2 tablespoons worth. That just kind of helps to thin it out a little bit. And we'll reduce the heat a little bit. And now it's time to dump our cookies. We can fit a few cookies at a time in this pot.
I'll just show it to you like this.
So after about 20 seconds or so, we're gonna flip them over. It's boiling a little bit too much, so after I flip them, I'm gonna reduce the heat. Now, some people use sugar in their syrup for Melomakarona. We really like to only use honey. We find that it gives a much greater flavor. It's a little more expensive to do it this way, but really worth it.
Yeah. And this is why it's also important to have the cookies cool, because if they're too hot and they go into the hot syrup, they might crumble.
You know, if you make a mistake though, and your Melomakarona do crumble in the honey, don't throw it away, just eat them with a spoon.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, over ice cream.
Oh, delicious.
Or yogurt.
Yes.
Oh my God. Ooh, if you guys are interested, we have a Melomakarona cheesecake on our
It's
website,
amazing.
right, Helen?
Yes.
It's true. So if you find yourself making these cookies and then having leftovers, try making our cheesecake. It's beyond delicious. So I'm flipping them over one last time carefully. We like to use 2 forks to do this, just very gently. And now, that's been about 45 seconds, I think. We're going to gently remove the Melomakarona and set them to the side. If you do want your cookies to be much more saturated, just leave them in the pot a little bit longer. While they're still warm, we take our nut mixture and sprinkle on top. What a happy mess.
Well, we're so happy that you were with us and you watched us making our Melomakarona.
We hope you enjoyed our video,
We hope you get a chance to try them out.
and we hope that when you do, you let us know how you found them,
Yes, please.
and that you and your family and friends found them delicious.
We love having you guys here, and happy holidays.
Bye!